Ohio gozaimashita, konnichiwa, konbanwa, irashaimase. My name is Mark, and welcome to 4DM's One Idea, a Western show inspired by Eastern thought. This is a show where we welcome writers, artists, and creators, some might even say philosophers in their own right, to analyze an idea, whether they're inspired to look inwards like the Buddhists to the East or outwards like the philosophers of the West. I look to our guests to come up with a story, character, economy, artwork, song, or even world based on the same idea that everyone will have to work with. If you have no idea of what I'm talking about, the closest Western touch point I can give you is the work of David Hume, who in a nutshell said, think of a chair. And once you have an image of a chair in your head, the image you may have may be a brown, simple wooden chair. I may be thinking of a red lacquered chair with a high back, ornate feet, and a pad on the seat. Neither of these things are wrong. They are just different instances of the idea of a chair. Myself and our guests will take an idea in a short amount of time, create something from that idea, and then we will all compare notes live and see how different people come up with different ideas and take you through that journey of thought. And speaking of our guests today, we're joined by an illustrious panel of who's who in the tabletop role-playing game community. Our first guest is a full circle moment for me. They were the very first show I was on in the TTRPG space about a week after I joined the TTRPG family, and were incredibly welcoming to me. And I'm extremely happy to have Luna from the Tavern, a.k.a. Gamer Mom Luna, on today. Please tell the fine folks what you've got going on and what you would like to promote, please.
Awesome. Hi. Well, thank you for having me. It is kind of exciting to come back full circle and get to share the experience of coming on your channel now. So I am Gamer Mom Luna, and most people just call me Luna. I am the creator and host of Tales from the Tavern over on my personal Twitch channel, twitch.tv/GamerMomLuna. And Tales from the Tavern is the epic TTRPG talk show where chat asks all of the questions. So basically, it's me and 5 guests every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. And we just sit around and we talk tabletop. And all the questions come from whatever the chat wants to know. As for things that I have coming up that I would like to share, next Saturday night, I'm going to be playing in a Women's History Month one-shot over on Misrolled Adventures. And that's going to be a fundraiser to raise funds for, I want to say it's the Women's Law Center, but I can't remember the exact name of it. So anyway, it's going to be really fun. That's going to be a really great group. Coming up in May, I'm going to be celebrating the 100th episode of Tales from the Tavern.
Awesome.
So that is very exciting for me. Yeah. Yep. So that's exciting. And then coming up in June and July, we're going to have 2 big fundraisers. June 5th, the first Sunday of the month, is going to be the premiere of season 4. And we are doing a Tales from the Tavern meets Hot Ones episode to raise money for World Central Kitchen. And coming up in July will be the second annual Extra Life charity stream weekend extravaganza, 24 hours of tabletop content from Friday until Sunday. So lots coming up, and I'm very excited about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We raised $1,000 last year for Extra Life, so I'm hoping to beat that this year.
That's our goal for this year. That's our first year doing it ourselves. So yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
Our second guest today is Twitter's resident pun instigator and a member of Percentile Vice. I can't speak. I'm sorry. I apologize, Rick.
All good.
He is a pun instigator and member of Percentile Vice. Rick, please tell the fine folks. I really can't talk anymore. I'm so flustered. I'm sorry.
Technical difficulties.
Yes, we had a bunch of technical difficulties coming on the air. Money will be raised and shenanigans will ensue, most likely. That is correct. And thank you for the follow, Apache. Please, Rick.
Mark, thanks for having me on. Great to be here. I'm Rick. You can find me on Twitter at Rick Stevens PI or streaming on Twitch with Percentile Vice. You can also find our videos on YouTube. Just search Percentile Vice and you will find us. We currently have a schedule where we're doing talk show on Monday, anything TTRPG related, and actual plays on Thursday. We just finished up a really cool Call of Cthulhu scenario. And Monday, we're really excited because we're going to have Vincent from Tablecat Games come on to talk about his new jump start for his Street Wolves RPG, which is built using the Savage Worlds game system, but it's set in a retro futuristic 80s, and the 80s that's my wheelhouse right there. So I'm really looking forward to talking to Vincent Tablecat Games about his Jumpstart on Monday. You guys should come out and check us out for that. It should be a lot of fun. I'm a little bit humbled and a lot intimidated by the panel tonight. Luna, great to meet you. Love your stuff on Twitter and Twitch. And Daniel, please don't do with 3 ideas. Like
what?
4DM 6 ideas.
What a great segue is, because our third and final guest is one of our resident DMs here on the channel, creative director and TTRPG big brain and overachiever and contributor. It's Daniel. Hi, Daniel.
Hi. I made a promise this week to just do one idea. So we'll see what happens.
And Luna, if you hadn't caught the last episode that Daniel was on, he thought he'd be an overachiever and come up not with one good idea, but 3 great ideas that were completely separate. And
not only completely separate, completely fleshed out.
Yes.
In 15 minutes, he tripled our production with 3 fully developed ideas.
It was in fact, I believe Rick said in the chat at the time, please don't put me on a panel with Daniel. and here we are.
I didn't do it on purpose, I promise you. But yeah, most of my stuff, I don't do social media. Most of my games are board games in-house and role-playing games in-house. I am a player on the Monday Night Emancipation of Dragons. I had a short-lived couple games that I've run for the stream, but we're looking at beefing up that content fairly soon, once my current in-house games are done. So we'll see.
And he's also going to be the DM of something we're going to talk about here in a second, because... before I get started, I must give credit where credit is due. I was inspired to create this show by Andrew Huang, who is an amazing music producer who had the idea to create 4 producers, 1 sample, which was the inspiration for this show. If you enjoy music and creation, make sure to check Andrew's YouTube out. Secondly, if you enjoy this type of mental exercise for TTRPGs, I highly suggest you check out VA Redemption's Writer's Block on Thursdays, where they are taking words from guests and world building an entire setting as part of a collaborative writing process. It's very similar to this type of thing. So that's on Twitch on Thursdays at VA Redemption. What's up, Nariko? Welcome to the stream. We've also joined Streamers for Kids, which is a streamer group promoting Extra Life, which, if you're not aware, is a charity to buy sick kids in hospitals gaming equipment to make the things they're in the hospital for not quite as unbearable. If you'd like to donate and brighten some children's days on our stream, all you have to do is scroll down to the program schedule giant logo underneath the stream and click that. It will take you right to our donation page. We're unfortunately having some issues with the actual donation Twitch extension, so that's our workaround right now, is click where it says program schedule, and it'll take you right to the page. First, I also do want to thank the new followers on Twitter. We're now over 1,000, which is insane. So thank you for everybody following there, and also wanted to thank the new followers on Twitch. We have blown past 700, and our goal of 750 by March 20th, my birthday, is actually looking like it might be possible. And thank you very much to Apache 1222 for adding to that, because they just followed. Appreciate you very much. I also want to give a huge shout out to Mr. J Nice for his extremely generous $50 contribution towards our Streamers for Kids goal. But also thank you to Chip Michael 8, Jam Master MJ, Descent Digital, Void Writer, Chip Michael, Matt Chaser, Just Reefy, Hot Topic B, Melly the Bearded Dragon, The Dave Black, Merc the Nerd 42, Rise Kyle Northwest, Arcane by Assassin, John Blaze, Team DGW, Gamer Mom Luna, Mitch SG Live, Uchi Hans, Thickfish 2, Sakura, Tank Top 32, Black Samurai Za, Parzival 1701, The Fix 8D, Sensei Grayson, Kudo Jota, TML for Life 420, The Lefty 2319, Blue Girl TV, Retro Sega 81, Rye Fry 90, Popung, Bluey Wolfie, Play with Wana, Wovani, V Repsidian, Terror Engine, and Boys from the Baltic Star. And that's just the last 4 days. The list actually ran out because we had too many people follow this week. It didn't show me all of them again. So I apologize to anybody I missed. But thank you all and welcome to the community. In that same vein, we put up a new community challenge a couple weeks ago. You guys obliterated again, 15,000 points in 2 days. We are doing a streamers one-shot where we are getting 5 streamers who have never played a TTRPG before, and we're doing a one-shot story with them. That will be this Sunday, March 20th, on my birthday, 10 a.m. live stream, 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 Central, 1 Eastern. Will be a live stream, so mark that in your calendars. Should be an amazing good time. The streamers involved are myself, Bearden, Persephone13, Jag Leisure, Mystical Panda, and Sleep Deprived. All of them have never played. I have. And this is actually the culmination. Daniel is DMing it. It is supposed to be the culmination of an 18-year storyline that we've had going on. So it should be interesting.
One way or the other, it will be the culmination.
Yeah, I'm going to die. I know it. My character's going to die. We have changed the channel point rewards. There's only one that affects the show. It's for 500 points, and that's to make us all take a drink and cheer to Torm. And then there is a 1 point check-in. If you would, please do check in for 1 point down there. Since the Twitch chat only goes back so far, it helps me give shout-outs on Twitter to everyone after the fact if you check in. So appreciate that if you would. With all of that out of the way, I have heard the magical tones that tell me that the idea for this evening has been delivered to us via magic. I know the patron that provided this, and I am so not surprised. The idea for the evening is Goose Hydra.
Oh, God.
I'll have to thank them personally.
Goose Hydra. And with that, I will put us up for 15 minutes on the clock. Oh, this should be good.
Oh.
If I could just get Daniel to do about 2 ideas and slip one over
slip
to me.
one over to you.
Right? No, do 3 because I got another one.
Oh, we have a Tutorm while we're thinking. Tutorm.
Torm.
The Torm.
And if you hear me typing, it's because I don't write. I actually type. So
If you hear me typing, it's because I'm searching for stuff on the internet.
that's fair.
If you hear me typing, there's a problem because I don't have a keyboard.
Yes, that would be very difficult for you to do so.
Oh, gosh. I have this really great mental picture, though. And if I could draw, I totally would, but I can't.
It's fine. And we have just over 10 minutes left.
Man, I feel like I'm in school taking a test.
I often stared at a blank sheet of paper for the first 5 or 10 minutes on those, too.
Right? It's funny because I've used a calculator about as many times as I was allowed to then also.
Nadiko in chat says that's because you are taking a test.
That's fair. That's fair.
Nice percentile. Well said, percentile.
Very, very nice. Rick would be proud of that pun if he wasn't trying to come up with an idea.
Now I gotta look. I like it.
I actually really like where this is going. Yeah. Apache, you should be hearing a very nice chill hop that's Asian inspired, not Jeopardy, in your head. Okay. Also, I think 15 minutes would be the longest amount of Jeopardy quiz music that has probably ever played.
And I don't think it would be productive.
No. Because we'd all just be singing along to it.
Final Jeopardy, but today's question will be essay.
Right.
I was informed that this was my own fault.
It is kind of your own fault.
No, literally. I sent an image to my partner that was a giant goose giving a hug.
Nice. So I should say our Patreons are the ones that choose these ideas. And Daniel's partner was the Patreon that was chosen out of the hat today. The patron.
The longer I write, the messier my handwriting gets.
That's a normal thing.
I'm an efficiency expert. I started writing sloppily at the beginning.
Hey, that's what I should have done. I wrote down Goose Hydra, and it was like nice and neat. And now I'm like, each letter is like 4 lines big, and
We have just over 2 minutes left. It's also very strange that you can actually hear the music. Normally, no one can hear it but me. It's very strange.
One minute left.
Just under 1 minute.
Smells really good. Smells good.
Yeah. Sorry, now you have to wait.
It's a payment, I know.
Do a good job. Here's food. All right, our 15 minutes are up, and I will be the sacrificial lamb to start. I actually went a very different direction than I normally would, because I'm generally centered in the fantasy realm, which I get flack for all the time from my friends who love sci-fi. I went the direction of a one-shot adventure for Big Eyes Smallmouth. And if you are not familiar with that role-playing game, it is basically anime using, 3.5 or 5e, depending which version of it you have, because they just did a 5e Kickstarter. But it's called The Attack of the Goose Hydra, one-shot adventure for BESM. And a pair of mad scientists spend years coming up with the most inexpensive and inane ways of attempting to take over the world, including inventing cute, cuddly dolls that laugh when you tickle them, a foreign substance that you can stretch and doesn't do much else, and shooting a man into space and forcing him to watch really bad movies. And eventually they stumble upon the ultimate weapon, combining multiple ducks in a fly-like teleporter, resulting in a Goose Hydra. Of course, being the bubbling idiots they are, the assistant, let's call him Frank for simplicity's sake, accidentally trips into an enlarging ray gun that they had from a previous science experiment, and multiplying the Goose Hydra into a kaiju. The mad scientists have enlisted your help to try and combat the Goose Hydra by allowing you access to their arsenal of experiments in the hope that you can save them, and also the world. This is obviously torn directly from Mystery Science Theater 3000, which, if you've never watched, is amazing. And they always do science exchanges to make these really dumb, but sometimes powerful weapons and science experiments, etc. And so I thought it would be funny, as the DM, you could go back and cherry pick what experiments you'd allow and not allow to help beef up the player characters in their power set to combat this Goose Hydra. And there's so much source material. They have 10 years of seasons of shows. And I'm pretty sure there's a website out there that lists all the science experiments and exchanges that they did with Mike and or Joel on the Satellite of Love. So I thought this would be an interesting way to, just as a one shot, to kind of get people into number one, a system that they may not be familiar with, because BESM, you can literally do just about anything. It is a ridiculous role-playing game. It's
really almost genre agnostic.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And so if one of your party wants to be Cloud Strife with a giant sword that he can whirl above his head and throw and fly, sure, you can do that. And that actually probably adds to fighting a giant Goose Hydra.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can make Ash Ketchum with his Pokemon. You can make it's very I don't want to say generic, but you can do a lot with it. Yeah,
you can do that very, very much. So yeah, that's kind of where I did. Questions.
So did I hear you right that there was a accident with a teleporter that created the original Doug thing, like reminiscent of the Fly movie from way back when?
Yes, but in fact, knowing the source material, they would have been trying to replicate that exact thing, but
from the movie.
Yeah, because that's why it's funnier, because they work with bad, old movies, bad movies, etc. But yes, that is exactly it. They put multiple ducks into, because this is the funny part, right? They put ducks into the teleporter, but it's a Goose Hydra that emerges.
Yep.
That's how that would play out from them.
And that's the kind of stuff that happens in the show.
It is the kind of stuff that happens in the show as well. So yes. That's kind of, yes, 100%.
So you listed off some of the other crazy experiments. So opening up their arsenal to having this, it's inane science anyway at the beginning, right? Goose Hydra.
100%.
So you can just go crazy with what this arsenal has.
Yep.
And some one shot, so who cares if your character is OP'd, right?
Well, and on top of that, even if you want to go borrow from the movie, they had the interocitor, which did 90 billion different things depending on what control disk you put into it. So you could make whatever assisted power sets you wanted to give the players as the DM of this, through whatever means you wanted to. But there are a bunch of different things that you could use as examples from the actual shows if you didn't want to do too much, home brewing of your own. And Bat Duck, you are not being targeted. Daniel actually owns ducks, and they are a constant source of social media movement for him. Yeah. So that's why I also thought it would be funny to take the ducks he loves and turn it into
a monster.
Yes, pretty much.
So I used to watch Mystery Science Theater 3000 way back. I'm thinking just like early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, this was way back. And it was you'd get the silhouette of the human and a couple of robots, and in front of them was this really bad B movie. So there's 3 really great NPCs, and are they the scientists that created the duck?
No. As a matter of fact, they were one of the things I was talking about, the inane ways to try and take over the world. They actually shot the 2 mad scientists are actually Frank is the assistant, and the main one is Dr. Forrester. And they literally shot a janitor into space on a satellite to try to show him bad movies to drive him insane, because if it worked, then they could unleash that movie on the populace and take over the world. Right. So again, completely inane science experiments. They would be the ones that now need the party's help, because they have created this monster that is actually too much for them to control. They did something right that could actually take over the world, and of course it threatens them, so the first thing they do is ask for help.
And never having been successful before, they didn't know what
to do. Exactly, 100%, which is why it's funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it's Galaxy Quest, but effective. Yes, pretty much. What's up, Band Reaper? Welcome to the stream. Hello there. Any other questions for me?
I thought it was good. I like it.
I think it'd be a fun BESM adventure.
I really do.
Yeah. Well, in that case, if no more questions for me, then we will move on to Gamer Mom Luna.
Oh, of course. My cat is sitting on my paper. Hold on. I statted out a Goose Hydra for D&D.
Wow. Nice.
So basically I took your typical Hydra and eased it down a little bit, but so it's got an AC of 15, 83 hit points, 10d12 plus 25. And then it's got a strength of 16, a dex of 20, a con of 14, an intelligence of 2, a wisdom of 8, and a charisma of 6. It has a sleight of hand plus 6 for skills and a passive stealth.
I love that.
And for its actions, it has multi-attack, just like a typical Hydra. It gets as many bite attacks as it has heads. Bite is a melee attack plus 6, reaches 5 feet, and it does 1d10 plus 5 piercing damage. And then as for the rest of it is pretty similar to a typical Hydra. So it has the multiple heads. So it gets the multiple attacks. It has reactive heads that can be used for opportunity attacks only. One head is always awake at all times, so the rest of the heads can sleep, and one always stays awake. And then when the Hydra takes 25 points of damage in one hit, one of the heads dies. However, 2 will grow back in its place, and it regains 10 HP until it is dead, or, basically all of the heads are killed. So there you have it.
I have so many questions.
Yeah, I do too.
First of all, it has to have a legendary set of reactions called "It's Not All It's Quacked Up to Be."
No.
Okay, we can give it that.
And you're gonna have to do some art because I would definitely take a gander at that.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
There it is. Well, the first thing that popped into mind was Untitled Goose Game, but with a goose with a bunch of heads running around. So, that was the very first thought that I had.
I actually had that similar thought about making, some kind of annoyance attack, because that's basically all the Goose game does. He runs around.
That's how I ended up coming up with the passive stealth, and its skill being sleight of hand was because of Untitled Goose Game.
That is hilarious.
So,
I would almost have a fear effect. I know very few people that don't run from geese.
That's true. They are vicious.
They are mean.
Yeah, right. I would love to make that part of their legendary action, because in real life, and a goose lowers his head and neck down and starts running straight at you. There is nothing to do but scream.
Can you imagine
and run.
a goose though with like 5 heads coming at you like that? Holy.
Even a normal sized goose with 5 heads coming at you like that.
Wolf's Blood says this premise is quackers. I just want to know.
Honk of death.
Honk of death. Yep. I was going to say that, the fear effect should be named "What is your malady?"
Nice.
Oh my god.
Nice.
I hate you.
I love you.
Yeah. So
this is awesome.
So that was my very quick. I also learned apparently in the course of looking up information about geese that geese are excellent at weeding.
Yep.
So I would like to say that also kudos. You are the first person to ever stat block something out on the show.
Yes.
That is awesome. Other questions?
Do you see this? I may have missed it. From
what challenge rating?
What challenge rating and what size?
Oh yeah, so a typical Hydra is a challenge rating of 8. So I would say, I don't know, 6, 4, somewhere in there, somewhere between 4 and 6.
And what size were you thinking? Typical Hydra is huge.
I kept going back and forth about that. I kept going back and forth about that because initially when I started thinking about statting one out, I was thinking of like a fair, like, I don't know, a good sized goose with multiple heads. But I think by the end of it, it would probably have to be. I was just thinking based on the number of hit dice that you had.
I mean,
it has to be size large at minimum.
Yeah, right. I would think large, and then if you had a dire Goose Hydra, then that would be. What? Why are you
keep in mind,
your
Mark,
head?
Not everything is planned for Sunday.
Yes, I know. I think
dire Goose Hydra.
A dire Goose Hydra sounds like the most amazing thing.
There you go.
CR9 would have been appropriate too.
It depends how many extra legendary actions and special features.
Tatorm.
Yeah.
Tatorm, everyone.
Tatorm.
I was thinking one CR for each head. So give it a 9.
There you go.
Apache says, "Why not a Weregoose Hydra?"
It gets better. And
also acceptable.
I love it.
I'm going to say right now that if anybody uses this, I am not responsible for what happens to your party.
100%.
If you're already planning on killing them all.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Weregoose Hydra responsibly.
So how about a little lore? Where would one run into a Goose Hydra?
You would run into one. Let's see. You would run into one probably on like an abandoned farm somewhere. And it probably came about from some like. I'm trying to think, like, I would say that it's like some spell that went way wrong or something like that.
I like that.
You're a lot nicer than I am. I'd consider giving it a fiendish template, maybe have it guard like the river Styx.
I mean, it could do that too. Yeah, Bat Duck and Chat just said a farm at Chernobyl. That was kind of the other place my mind was going. But given that I statted it for D&D, it would have to be the right setting. So.
Yeah. I think this is. I mean, so my question is, obviously, this can't be made of normal geese because, like you said, a spell had to have gone wrong. Could there be offshoots that are like geese that are not normal as well?
I would think so.
You mean as there are hydras that are not normal hydras?
No, because normally a hydra isn't composed of multiples of the same thing. Like a hydra is not like 6 dragons fused together.
Well,
sort of.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So I'm wondering if maybe this could cause offshoots of geese that are different that you could build into your lore. That maybe ransack villages and stuff. All in preparation for the Goose Hydra.
All hail the Goose Hydra.
I love it.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, that's another good question. Does it have a flock, or does it live solo?
A flock of Goose Hydra. I would think that the mutated geese would be the flock, and then the Goose Hydra would be like the alpha or the
alpha. Yeah.
But you could go anywhere with that. I love it. I love it.
I like the thought of little minions. Minions for the Goose Hydra.
They bring it food. Ransack villages bring it food.
There you go. Yeah.
Nesting materials. Bat Duck, thank you for the follow. You're a rock star. Other questions?
I'm good.
No? All right. Then on we move. Thank you, Wolf's Blood, for the follow. You're a rock star as well. Oops. Wrong one.
It's not me.
I know. Rick, tell us about the Goose Hydra.
Okay. Well, so I had absolute blank on this. Like the fear of every 4DM that ever comes on this show that you're going to get hit with the total blank. I went and looked up Hydra on Google, and before ever getting to your standard D&D monster, I found out something I didn't know. There's a genus of small freshwater organisms in the class Hydrazoa that are native to temperate and tropical regions. That biologists are very interested in because of their regenerative abilities. They do not appear to die of old age or age at all. So I would like to introduce you to... I'm going to make this setting agnostic. If we were in D&D, I think it'd be a druid. If we were in some other setting, maybe it'd be a mad scientist. But either way, his name is Goo. Goo, in this case, a druid, has discovered these small little freshwater animals. They're about not quite a half of an inch long. He discovers them and has found out about these regenerative properties. Goo is a good person at heart, and he sees the good that he could do with this. So he starts working with these hydras, experimenting with them, getting extracts from them, trying to come up with, are there bombs or potions, maybe better healing potions or something to help the aged and infirm with nothing but good intentions that he's been working with this. Well, word gets out of this wonderful thing that he is doing. And of course, as often happens, somebody with enough evil and greed in their soul see something that could be that this could be used for their own advantage. So we could have a single big bad guy who wants immortality and believes that Goo's work can get him there. So he captures Goo and forces him to work for him. you make it a little bigger and say that we're a couple years down the road from the time that Goo has been captured, and there are several big bads that are now immortals because of Goo's work with the little aquatic animal, the Hydra, and they are now terrorizing the landscape. So our adventurers, they've got to figure out. There could be an investigative and a mystery part here too. What was it about Goo? What was Goo? Everybody knew Goo was working on something, and it was good, and they could do the investigative stuff, maybe starting with Goo's original laboratory and trying to find the Hydra. But it eventually has to culminate with, putting down the evil here, right? Does that mean thwarting the big bad's plan, or a series of things that takes this group of immortals that have developed over time, rescuing Goo, and bringing this benevolent thing back to the good of society instead of the greed of a few people. Goo's Hydra.
I really like that. That's clever.
Yeah.
And I could see that being system agnostic, because my lean is usually towards sci-fi or horror, and I could easily see this going in either of those directions. I like that.
I could even see this in like a modern day supers kind of game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have? So if we went with the later premise that it's been a couple years and there's this group of immortals, do you have a feel for whether or not Goose has the key to reversing their immortality at that point, or is that what would you think about that?
I think that is perfect. I think you've got to get to Goo, right? Because he is being forced to continue to produce this thing that is allowing the immortality, but he's been working at it for years, right? And Goo is good at heart. So while he's working on this, he's, like a coder putting in a back door, he's figuring out some way that when he is free of their clutches, that he could end this. So I like that, because it puts a better ending on the story. If our adventurers get to Goo, then it's not just getting Goo out of there. Now Goo has the, this is what we've got to do. So, second act there to go after him.
Is Goo immortal?
No.
Are you sure?
Well, I don't know. I'll tell you what, I'll leave it up to whoever's running it. In my mind, Goo wouldn't do that, right?
But he wouldn't do it himself, but if immortals know that he's their only key, would they give him the choice?
I think in the second scenario where this has happened for a long time, and there are quite a few, this cabal of immortals, that they may have forced it upon him as well, so that he'd always be there to create this thing. Good point. I like that.
I would name chapter 2 Sounds Goo to me.
Sounds good to me.
I can't go more than 15 minutes without, also, we have a Titorm.
Titorm.
Storm.
One of the things that came to my mind was, I forget which one of the Matrix movies it was, but when they had the keymaker, that's kind of how I picture Goo while he's in captivity. He's got all the secrets and he knows all. He just needs the right people to come and get him, so that he can use his knowledge to help end things.
Did you have a question, Luna?
No, I was just laughing. There was a question
Dog.
in chat. Yeah, if he's captured and eaten by cannibals, does that mean his goose is cooked?
It does, as a matter of fact, it does. So yeah, I may have misunderstood the assignment. I could have sworn you said Goose Hydra.
No, that's perfectly good. I love it. I love it.
One of the things I actually really do enjoy about this, because I originally was not a super fan of the medium, but now that I've seen it actually happening, one of the things I actually really like is how far people's ideas can be different.
And one of the reasons we wanted to create the show is because so many people don't know where to even start. Like they say, oh, I'm going to play a character or I'm going to write a campaign, and I have no idea where to start. And what I like about this is it shows people different ways to think creatively about different issues. It's the same idea that we're all getting, but it's all vastly different, and that's great. And it means that you can't be wrong in anything you put to paper. There's no wrong answers to any of this. And the benefit is we now are starting to build a catalog of ideas where people can go back and get some ideas for their own stuff, where they say, oh, I like Rick's idea, but maybe I want to tweak it this way. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the whole point of this. And then if they want to say, I want to use Luna's stat block for this, but then I also want to give it X, great. You can do exactly that, because none of these are ideas being put out there for anybody to use as a starting point for their own creative process, or just people that are interested in the creative process in general. So I am always in awe every time we finish an episode, because it does exactly what I wanted it to do in the entire premise, and I'm very happy with that. Mm. And speaking of, any other questions for Rick? All right, then that means we then come to Daniel.
Hi.
Okay,
so I have an idea that spawned other ideas, but it's all one idea. Mm-hmm. So I'll put that out there now.
He's found a loophole.
It's a Goose Hydra idea Hydra.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was kind of what I was doing. All right. So I see this setting, which is currently system agnostic, and I'll circle back around to that. But I see this setting as a post-apocalyptic setting on an Earth-like planet. Mm-hmm. So after like Big War, stuff like that, humans either never existed or don't exist.
Okay.
It's what populates the world are anthropomorphic animals. So animals that have been uplifted to be more humanoid in shape, and they're kind of living in this post-apocalyptic world. The world is called Apatos 3, and flyers are rare because since everything is kind of a humanoid shape, it's kind of harder for them to have wing structures that would be able to carry them. So the majority of the flyers that are in this world are anthropomorphized ducks, which are still kind of smallish, but have larger wings. And because they can fly, they've kind of taken control and have kind of become the heads of a lot of different areas, and not great people. As everyone who knows actual ducks knows, ducks are awful creatures. Not you, though. The duck that we have in
bat duck, not you.
Not you.
He's not personally attacking you.
Yeah, because you're also a bat, and bats are cool.
And can also fly.
All right, so a hero from unknown origins has arrived, possibly spit out from hell itself. It's giving a lot of trouble to the ducks and their underlings, their ducklings, if you will. So what the idea I had was that this would start as a webcomic. Drawn in kind of cartoony, goofy style of like Penny Arcade or something like that. Not really serious, not really taking itself seriously. Just start off as kind of a webcomic to introduce itself to people with these stories of this shadowy hero that you see is a goose. So it's like the duck forebears, but is bigger. And the story that we tell is that a secret lab from the before, it has been growing and experimenting on awakened animals. Amongst them is a shared mind goose in a set of clones. So there are vats of growing goose clones that all have a shared mind, not a hive mind. They all can think for themselves, but they can talk to each other telepathically no matter where they are on the planet. They spread out as they leave. They spread out over the wastelands, and as they spread out, their story spreads out because it all looks like one duck or one goose that has started fighting back against the powers that be, and it kind of gains power in that. So I see this as two things that are kind of together. I see this as a board game where you every player plays as a goose that has a shared mind, which is how it explains Mark and I sitting at the same table talking about tactics when we're the whole continent away from each other because we have a shared mind. And so we can move together in this board game, this strategic board game, and kind of move pieces together. And that's how that kind of is explained in the board game. I also see it as a possibly one shot, but as a role-playing game where you can make a duck character that is a goose that has a shared mind with the rest of the players at the table, but might not be the same class. I was thinking a modified version of 5e just because it's the easiest system really right now to tear apart and put back together. Or one of the easiest systems. I've done it with quite a few lately, but it's also the most familiar to most people right now. But I was thinking you could be geese that have different types of programming or different types of classes, but you all have a shared mind and you all look pretty much identical. And the title of the webcomic and the board game and the role-playing game, because you are a goose who's fighting against the power, is Goose Hydra, Murder Most Foul.
Nice.
I've been sitting on this the entire explanation. I just want to know, can you eat the duck vat?
I don't see why not.
It should be delicious.
I mean, this is a post-apocalyptic world. They don't really have a production system anymore. Sorry. So you'd have to eat something.
Bat Duck says the name of the organization should be called The Flock.
I like that.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep. So you said it was going to be one idea, but again, it's three ideas. I'm just saying that.
It's a hydra of ideas.
Yes,
they all tie back.
I got what you were going for, but it's still three ideas.
The way just so that we're clear, the way I thought of it, and the reason I consider it one idea is because it's a Kickstarter. I see this as a Kickstarter that started as a webcomic, and then it Kickstarted into a board game with a role-playing game as an add-on.
And so what would the goal of the board game be?
So, displacing enough of the
power token?
Faligarchy?
Faligarchy.
Faligarchy.
I love it.
That yep. The rest of the townships and stuff can move under their own power. They have access to their own resources. So the way I saw it was the resources are flowing to these points that are nests of where the ducks are. Mm-hmm. And as you are taking out the ducks, you are letting the resources pool back to the valley or whatever, where the rest of the towns are. And so you could have one person playing as the asymmetric game style has become popular of late. You could have one person playing as the ducks, playing against however many geese, and it'll be easier for them to win because they start off winning.
Right. They start off with a bunch of resources.
Yeah, and so as things happen, you have to take their resources and put them back in the bowl, the shell, if you will.
And, that's super interesting. What?
I like that. They're all working for the Greater Goose.
The Greater Goose. Yeah. Nope. I love it, Wolf's Blood. Why'd you say, damn it, Wolf's Blood? Did he say that?
Wolf's Blood is one of the resident pun masters in my Discord.
Okay. Got it. Other questions for Daniel?
I love this idea. When you were first going and you started telling us about the shared mind. I thought to myself, oh, he's gonna take Hydra the way, like Marvel took Hydra, like it was an evil organization, and then you didn't go that way. Oh, he got me. But look, there were several puns throughout all of this, but Daniel, Fowligarchy.
Yeah, no, that was chef's kiss right there.
That was good.
Never done this live before, but I am awarding my unconditional seal of approval for that one right there.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Grade A punter right there. I love this. I could picture it as the board game. And I really like the way the shared mind allows for the strategy there at the table. It's like, just take the whole metagaming complaints off the board. Nobody has. We're just going to talk this out, and we're going to do it. And then, rolling that into a role play game where all of the players at the table are inhabiting essentially the same body. They all look different, right? So the characterization differences that as a player I'd have to role play, they've all got to come from my personality or my skills or my class. I can't rely on my looks to provide me role play hooks as I'm exhibiting my character to the world here. So I really like that part.
Thank you.
Well, once again, the show has shown that we get to and should celebrate the diversity of thought in the TTRPG space. Everybody is super creative. I appreciate everyone for turning out. I want to throw it over to our guests one more time to remind everybody what they've got coming up. And Luna, let's start with you.
Okay, so I am Gamer Mom Luna. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gamer Mom Luna, and on TikTok as at the Gamer Mom Luna. And TikTok is just a bunch of random nonsense. So, whatever. And D&D, bad D&D dad jokes. You can find me every Sunday night over on my channel, Gamer Mom Luna, where I do Tales from the Tavern, which is the epic TTRPG talk show where chat asks all of the questions. Me and 5 guests sit around for 2 hours and talk all things TTRPG, and chat gets the chance to ask all the questions. We never know what's coming. It's never scripted. We don't know what's going to happen. We've had some very, very entertaining conversations over the last few weeks. Involving the gloves that vets wear when birthing cows and various other things like that. And you can find me next Saturday night. I will be doing a one-shot for Women's History Month over on Misrolled Adventures. And I will also be getting ready to celebrate the 100th episode of Tales from the Tavern in May. And then we will be coming back again with our season premiere of season 4 with a fundraiser for World Central Kitchen in June. So Twitter is probably the best place to get any information about any of that stuff coming up. So, drop me a follow there and stay up to date on all of it. And if anybody's ever interested in being a guest on Tales from the Tavern, just hit me up and we'll find a date. So, yeah.
Awesome.
That's me. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
No, thank you for being here. It's been a blast. Rick, let the people know what you got going on.
I'm Rick Stevens, PI on Twitter. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube with my group Percentile Vice, where we do actual play of different systems and general TTRPG talk and discussion on Monday nights. This Monday night, a big show for us. We're really looking forward to it as we get Vincent from Table Cat Games to come on and talk to us about his 80s retro futuristic setting Street Wolves built on Savage World systems. A really beautiful jump starter that you can get for free right now. And great art, beautiful writing, really well done. I'm looking forward to talking to him. That'll be Monday at 6:00. Just search for Percentile Vice on Twitch and you'll find us.
Perfect.
And Mark, one of the things I really love about this is the ability to engage this show at home. Everybody, when I'm not sitting here with you and I'm watching the stream, me and my daughter are sitting there both trying to answer the idea that came up with. So the play at home ability of this thing you created is great, and I love it. And then we're chatting back and forth and texting back and forth about what did you come up with? It's a brilliant idea, Mark. Kudos.
Well, I appreciate it. And if anyone who's watching wants to share their ideas, please do so as it goes over to YouTube immediately. It's being live streamed to YouTube right now, but that means it's up and there are comments available. So please do share in the comments, because we always like to hear what different things and ideas people come up with on their own. And do you mind if I tackle the last for your slot? All right. So since I am the host and Daniel actually works with me on all this stuff, we have a bunch of stuff coming up, so I hope everybody can join us. First of all, we're going to raid out here in a minute to another TTRPG family member, DMDM Studios, in just a bit, but we will be back at 7 p.m. for Fun with Friends Friday. We're going to be doing Fork Knife Wrong, which, if you're not familiar with Fortnite, it is an action game, but we have some community members that are trying to, the season for it ends tomorrow, and so we've got some community members that we're trying to help get as much XP as possible before that ends. But also on Sunday, we will have a stream. It is my birthday stream starting at 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 Central, 1 Eastern. We will be playing a streamer's one-shot of D&D, resolving an 18-year-long storyline, which I'm super excited about, which probably will end with me dying. I know that's what Daniel is planning.
You.
Right.
Not the character.
Right, not the character. Me. I'm going to die. But yes, we'll be doing that at 10 a.m. on Sunday, March 20th. So do join us for that if you can. It should be a great time, and we're going to see 5 streamers who have never played D&D or any TTRPG take their first steps. So that should be very interesting as well, because a lot of different personality styles can be at that table. Should be very interesting and a lot of fun. I expect Daniel to have a sack where he can try and attempt to wrangle cats, but we'll see if that happens or not.
We'll see.
As always, we'll throw up the first of all, also thank you, Percentile Vice, for the bits. You're a rock star. I appreciate you. Please know that you don't have to do that or subscribe. All the shows are free, but we do very much appreciate when you do contribute. So thank you for that. These times are PST, so that will be 10 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, and I have no idea what that would be. It'd be 6 hours forward from 10 a.m., which would be 4 p.m. GMT, or 4, what is 4 p.m. in military terms? I don't know. 1600. It'd be 1600 GMT, I believe.
But if you go
I can make it slightly easier. Bat Duck's actually behind you. He's in Hawaii.
Oh, so it's, what is it, 1 hour behind? I think it's 1 hour behind.
I don't know. I lost track with the time change.
It's 10 a.m. PST.
Yeah, 10 a.m. PST will get you there.
Yep.
And if you're 3 behind...
I don't want to keep throwing out numbers that may be wrong. 10 a.m.
10 a.m. PST. And then convert to your local regional dialect of time. But with that, we're going to throw up our schedule just so everybody sees what's coming up in the next week, and then we will raid out from there. Thank you to all my guests. Again, thank you to Luna. Thank you to Rick. Thank you to Daniel. Until next time, be excellent to each other, and game on.
Game on.
Come on. Bye, everybody.